Well, my journey to find love has been one full of confusion and heartbreak, full of good times and bad times, full of laughs and sadness, full of low points and high points. Not having brothers and sisters to learn from, and not having guidance of my cousins and my parents, I had to find out the hard way and make my own path in life and learn from my experiences. These are my findings and my experiences. My first girlfriend was a co-worker. She never really did pay attention to me. Then one day she started to talk to me. As a group, we would go out for coffee after work. And when the coffee was done, we would sit in our vehicles and talk. She told me she was 5 years older with a couple of kids. We talked about some things, then we would part ways until the next night at work. This went on for a few months until I decided to get my first apartment. It was a 1-bedroom apartment. Rent was very affordable. She shortly moved in after that. There were times where I would not see her other than at work. I would wait for her, but no phone call or contact. Through talking with family and coworkers, I come to find out she was 10 years older. I could accept that. Then I come to find out she has 4 kids and possibly a 5th one. I tried to spend time with her kids. 2 of them were almost the same age as me. The youngest kid was nice. The middle kid was a bit wild. I come to find out she was telling people that we were cousins, and she was sleeping in the spare room or on the couch. I started to ask questions, and the layers of lies started to crumble. To preserve my sanity and my morals, I had to break up with her. She slandered my name and cost me a couple of jobs until she finally moved on. Many years later, I come to find out that she was actually still married at this time. She was my first girlfriend. Talk about learning the hard way. Talk about starting off on a low point right out of the gate. The summary of my second girlfriend. Well, once my life got back to normal, it was just me, my cat, and my rusty truck, and my 1-bedroom apartment. Things were making sense once more. In the summer, I was set up by the next door neighbor. She had a single friend. She was the farmer's daughter from a small town, now living in the same town as me, living independently with her own place, or so it appeared. She wanted to be a housewife and to be supported. I tried to make her trailer a home. I skirted her trailer so it would not freeze up over the harsh Canadian winters. I spent a lot of time with her, both at her place and mine. We would do road trips to the city, have a nice supper, and watch a movie in the theater. However, I felt nothing for her. I felt no emotional connection. I figured since I was damaged and undesired because of my first relationship, she was the best that I could do. She was very young emotionally. She struggled when it came to housekeeping and things like that. She would blame her neighbors for breaking into her trailer just to mess things up. I found out she'd like to lie to cover her problems. I broke up with her because we were not compatible. We both wanted different things out of life. I needed a wife to work beside me to reach our goals, and she wanted to be supported, to stay at home, to have kids, to be a homemaker just like her mum was. She was single for a bit, but soon found her Brad Pitt and had her family, her house, and her kids. Her dreams came true, or so it seems. I hold no hard feelings against her, and I wish her a happy life. The summary of my third girlfriend. She was introduced to me by my mum. We had a family connection because our parents knew each other from decades earlier. Me being told that I was kind of old-fashioned, I thought it was a sign that I found the right person. If there was somebody, this person came the closest to being the one. She and I spent the most time together. We were together for 14 years. We went through a lot in our lives. I viewed her as my wife, and throughout everything, that view never changed. I asked her to marry me a few times, and she turned me down. The first time she left was when her grandpa passed away. I guess her family needed her more. After a bit, she came back and we tried again. I asked her to marry me. We started making wedding plans, but she had delusions of grandeur when it came to getting married. I refused to start our life together in debt because of a wedding. An overinflated wedding, a over-glamorized wedding, kind of a little girl's fantasy wedding. I know weddings are a fantasy, and I know they're supposed to be for the wife, but at the same time, overdoing it at the wedding can cause a ripple effect that can put young couples deeply into debt. My parents were kind enough to co-sign a house for us. It was a very welcome gesture. We had each other, we had a home. The next thing to do was to get a dependable vehicle, so we financed one. Over the early years, we tried for a child, but she always claimed that she could not get pregnant. I accepted that and made peace with the fact that I would never have kids of my own. About the 7-year mark, she cheated on me. Apparently it happened at a family event with somebody that she was close with, somebody that she had potential of a history with. She packed her stuff and left. We broke up and a lawyer was contacted. There was a lot of money spent to try to remediate the mess that she created. She went and had her fun and possibly got pregnant and had a kid, and then decided to come back. Her old car she bought was giving her trouble, and once again she was back in debt. She came back and wanted to build a life again. Me, in my emotional state, allowed her to come back. Because she was my wife, I wanted it to work. We once again paid off her debts and bought her a better car, and tried to put the past behind us. One day I was updating her iPad and I found chats and photos of men's body parts on her iPads, and chat log on her iPad, and chat logs, and the chat logs told the true story of what she was doing. She was at minimum having an online relationship with somebody else. I, against my better judgment and all of my gut feelings, gave her another chance. Chances are I would never do any better anyway, so I might as well make the best out of this situation with her. Well, here I go again. I asked her to marry me, thinking that stability may bring calmness to the relationship, and once again I was turned down. For years I was the strong one, but throughout the chaos and confusion, I finally broke. When my life became chaotic, I needed the loving support and guidance to talk me back down. I guess this was too much to ask out of her, and more than what she wanted to give. She bailed when I needed her the most. I liquidated my house, my tools. I lost a lot of things. It was a tough stretch dealing with the fallout from my old life. I moved to a 2-bedroom apartment and started to move on from her and the past. I had many dark times alone in that apartment, working through my emotions, dealing with things, and my thoughts that no other person knows about. However, just as the chaos had started to go away, my life was starting to get to the new normal again. She contacted me. I thought she wanted to give me closure. I needed that closure. So I met her for coffee. We discussed things like adults. We worked out what happened. Then we decided to try again. She had her place, I had mine. We would have coffees and suppers together. We would have movie nights together. Things were progressing okay. Then in the early new year, she faded away. I thought maybe I did something wrong. However, the social media photos and posts told a different story. Once again, she had cheated on me. This time with undeniable proof. I questioned her on it, and she tried to pull the same story once again. However, I had become emotionally stronger than she had expected, and I was able to let her go because I had realized that she was not worth the hassle. This woman was almost the end of me. This time it was the final nail in the coffin. The dark thoughts and emotions, they all came back. The self-destructive behavior became normal, and a deep cycle that has taken me a few years to work through it. I moved out of that dark, gloomy, dead apartment and into another one that was calm, peaceful, bright apartment. A beautiful 1-bedroom apartment, just me and my dog and the cat that she abandoned. This was my apartment. This apartment was not tainted by anyone. No bad memories or ghosts of girlfriends past. She tried to come back in 2020, but I said no. I was finally strong enough not to repeat the cycle again. My life has moved on and improved. Her life has stayed the same or declined according to what I have been told. Choices are important. Again, I viewed her as my wife, and in my mind we were going to be together forever. The lies and the betrayals almost ended me. I gave everything for her. Cars, money, house. She was treated very well. All she had to do was be a responsible adult. However, sometimes life has other plans for your journey. The summary of my 4th attempt. We met online. Of course, where would you meet people nowadays? We chatted quite a bit, both online and both on the phone. Boundaries were established. She knew I was not looking for a hookup. She lived in a town about an hour away. I drove to meet her for a coffee. During these times, we had several coffees one supper date, the next time a movie, another supper, another movie. I think in all I spent 3 months auditioning for her suitable candidate. I started to really like her. I was considering moving to the town that she lives in so we could be closer. I felt things were progressing well. Then one day she told me that I was not the one for her, and that she had found somebody who tickled her fancy better, so we parted ways. About a month later she contacted me, telling me that the guy that she chose did not work out, and if I wanted to go another round, now was my chance to do so. By that point I had enough. I am nobody's backup plan. So I said no, and I really have not had any contact with her since. The summary of my 5th attempt. Once again we met online. We chatted for a bit. She revealed that we were co-workers from 12 years earlier. Through talking, she said she had a crush on me when we worked together. I do remember her kindness. I know she would buy me coffees once in a while, and she'd always would choose to be working the till down my end of the store so she could talk to me. However, I was in a relationship, and that's all it would ever become, no matter how many coffees she bought me. She knew the boundaries just like every other coworker. Fast forward many years, we met again, this time online. We chatted online, exchanged photos of our pets, things like that. We had regular phone calls. She lived 2.5 hours away. We established boundaries and came to agreements like, once again, we were not looking for hookups. So it was time to meet for a friendship coffee. It was late summer of the year, so we still had some nice warm weather. It was a good time. However, it got late and she offered me to spend the night on an air mattress. Over the next 3 months, it was a busy time. Many road trips to see her, many adventures in the area, seeing the sights and sounds and things like that. Many nights on the air mattress. However, in the late fall of the year, she decided to go another route. In the winter, we drifted apart. That was no big deal. It saved me from driving all winter, wasting time and money pursuing somebody who wants a different experience out of life. Someone who has not accepted the fact that she has enough to deal with without adding more chaos in her life. After New Year's, she texted me again. We kept in contact, and in the spring of the year, we made plans to meet up again. We had one more road trip. However, she wanted to plan this one, so I left it in her hands. It was a cold experience being the spring of the year. The weather was still very unsettled, so we had an indoor weekend, watched movies, and had a good time. Through talking, I laid out my plans for the summer. I promised to keep in contact throughout the summer, and we fully planned on a late summer trip together. However, in the late summer, she decided I guess I did not pass the audition, and I was not the one for her. Once again, it kinda hurt. I kinda liked this one. I felt her and I meshed well together. Or so I thought. Hope she finds her happiness, and her journey is full of good times, and she is able to overcome the past and to find what she is looking for, to move on from her past and to start living in the future, and that she finds something to live for. I hold no hard feelings to the women that I have met throughout the years. They have all taught me valuable lessons and helped me on my journey to where I need to be. This has been a bit of a record of the women I dated. They were quite the experience. The ones in between that I did not date, I learned from them. Most of them were online dating, and online dating is a confusing place to be. The dating world has changed so much that I feel like I no longer belong in it. Most of my online experiences never went past the initial online contact. Apparently, meeting for a coffee means something different nowadays. I had to find that out the hard way. And the very few that made it past the first meeting were quickly exposed for being users or women looking for handouts or what they could get from me. Maybe I come across as too kind-hearted. Maybe I come across as too generous. I have no idea. Some women are looking for a hookup. Some want a sugar daddy. Some want a mechanic. Some want a carpenter. Some want an electrician to hook up their hot tub. Some want a place to live and will do anything to get what they want. The mysteries of women will forever escape me. Over the following days, months, and years, I have come to the conclusion that maybe I am not meant to have anybody. My time to find someone and to have a family came and went in my early 30s when I was wrapped up in the wrong journey. A couple years ago, I started my own journey. I have set plans in place to provide and to create my own future, independent of anyone else. Some people call it a wall or a bubble. I call it protecting myself from more heartbreak and more chaos and confusion in my mind. It makes more sense than punishing myself trying to fit the mold of a world that I no longer belong in. I am not opposed to a relationship or trying dating again, but this time around I am no longer able to be fooled like before. Thanks for listening. What are your experiences online dating, or just dating in general? Did you have success the first time around, or did you learn the hard way, or did you take the hard road until you finally found success? Thanks for watching. Comment, subscribe, and enjoy.